The culture and the media, along with them, develop a belief about 10 minutes ago. And then Christians who have been believing things for thousands of years all of a sudden are castigated as the weird ones. You'll see that here as Doug Wilson is questioned about homosexual marriage.
So, in your version of a Christian town, would there be a place for non-believers?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Would there be a place for same-sex couples?
What, you mean legally?
Yes.
You mean like marriage?
Mm-hmm.
No marriage. But there'd be same-sex couples.
No marriage, even though it's the law of the land in the United States?
Just like Roe used to be, right? In my belief system, in our doctrinal stand, and what we believe the Bible teaches, homosexuality is not only a choice, but a sinful one. Yes.
Now, Doug didn't go into detail here, and you almost wish he would, and perhaps he probably did in the original take of this, but that was certainly cut from the interview. So Doug's position is just simply this, that if the church were the ones running things in the state and perhaps just in their city, then there would be a place for unbelievers, but there would not be a place for legally recognized homosexual unions. And this was the case up until about 10 minutes ago in America. And so here's what I wish we would have gotten into a conversation with, or at least it would have been explained so that people can understand. Now, far be it from me, by the way, to feel like I have to defend a position that's been normal for hundreds of years in America to a position that is relatively new on the scene. But nonetheless, because I'm such a compassionate and loving individual, here we go. The state is only involved in marriage in the first place because ultimately they wanted to encourage the facilitation of the next generation and healthy marriages, because marriages that produce children that don't stay together typically cost the taxpayers of that state more money. So the state got involved a long time ago and said, hey, what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to facilitate a couple of things. We're going to try to facilitate child rearing, because when more children are created, that's more workforce, and that's more people that then to buy goods for, and it's an economic boost, and it's a general incentive for the government to have more people in a society. Of course, unless you're into that whole Great Reset stuff.
Population growth in poor countries is the biggest problem they face.
But nonetheless, generally speaking, more people is a good thing, unless you're a villain in a Bond movie. And so we want to facilitate that. And the way that happens, by the way, in case you were curious, is not within the context of homosexual unions. It happens within the context of a man and a woman, so real marriage. So the state got involved in endorsing marriage between a man and a woman because it produces children. And because when those unions were officially held together and those unions stayed together, it also tended to provide more economic incentive also for society. Rather than having just individuals living autonomously, doing their own thing, which ultimately was not the best situation for the state, people in the union of a marriage with children was actually a great boon for the economy and a great boon for the state. So they got interested in marriage from a, I hate to use the qualifier traditional, but from a traditional perspective. Now, just recently, we've had this conversation on a rights basis, which Doug Wilson has already said rights come from God and not from the state. But nonetheless, the whole point here is that even from just a logical perspective, that kind of incentive for homosexual marriage doesn't exist. And so I plainly think that the state shouldn't be involved in it whatsoever. But if we're going to make an argument for the state being involved anyway, the only reason they would be involved, the only dog they have in the fight, is within the confines of a marriage between a man and a woman that produces children for the facilitation of the better health of the community. And you might ask yourself, if the media truly is interested in the better health of the community, why aren't they investigating things like women in burqas and the gender transitioning of minors? And we could go on and on and on. But it just seems that they're interested in trying to figure out a way to shine a poor light on Christians for beliefs that they've held for thousands of years. And there's one more thing to say about this. Everybody believes that there should be restrictions in marriage, even people on the radical left. We don't believe that we should be marrying child brides or marrying people to animals. Everybody believes in restrictions for marriage. The question is, where do we draw the line? And this brings up the broader context of Christian nationalism, because ultimately, if we believe that we're going to draw the line somewhere, the question then becomes, where do we draw the line? And I don't see any reason, no objective evidence, why we should draw the line using secular humanistic principles and not biblical principles. So even if you don't agree with me, you're still going to have to ask yourself the question, where could we draw a line that we can mutually agree upon that should be the basis for what we actually constitute marriage being? So you just got done watching a small excerpt of a much larger episode. You can find the link to that full episode down below in the description of this video. So you definitely need to check that out, because if you like that clip, you'll like the much larger episode. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and click that little bell to be notified when great new episodes of Indie Thinker come your way. Thanks for watching.